Hello! Thanks for watching those ads. It's hard to remember that there's no delay and it started immediately, but I figured it out. We were invited to something, but then we weren't. So...
Just like high school all over again.
Oh, wow.
No.
Oh, we didn't mean to invite you, you were just there. Oh, feels bad. Yeah, I guess. TvT, just asking whatever, everything that's on my mind. Any game starting. Doesn't look that way. Let's see here. NaTuRal's in game, and then everyone else is out of the chat, so they're probably in game.
Yeah, that's probably a good guess. But one of the really cool things that I think is going on that I'm a huge fan of is the fact that Wikipedia seems to have all of the actual score updates, and that's actually something that Olivia, also known as OlimoLeague, has been doing, is on the challenge bracket. There are updates of the scores for all of the series going on. That's kind of the nice thing also, there's like no delay or anything. So we know Billowy is currently up 1-0 versus Alive. Gumiho and Armani are tied up 1-1. I guess the only score that we don't really have is KeeN versus NaTuRal, unless that's just like a really long game.
Actually.
I see KeeN and NaTuRal.
Yeah, join the lobby, dum-dum.
Yeah. Don't call me a dum-dum.
Dum-dum.
I'm allergic to those.
You more gum-gum. Yeah, it's 1-1. So Olivia did find a game number 3 for us to join in on. I guess the Korean casters just joined in on Gumiho versus Armani, which is dope of them, I guess. NaTuRal says Gordy, which I can only imagine means for Dragon's a dum-dum. Sounds about right.
Of course, but you know what it also might stand for is go order
ready
something.
Literally
go check out
ready.
Olivia's. I was trying to be so clever with that. But of course, if you guys do enjoy the OlimoLeague, is what I was going to try and be clever about. Go check out patreon.com/OlimoLeague. You guys can throw your support and increase the prize pool, increase like all kinds of awesome things for the OlimoLeague.
Yeah.
It really is like a really easy way to support the Korean scene if that is what you're interested in doing.
Yeah, and they also get a couple perks for it in return. It's not just giving money. That's the whole reason for Patreon. So check it out. Replays from today. That's where you'd find them. Some like casts from, I think, like even I like am on the Patreon is like get a game cast from me. Yeah, there's some cool perks. I know that's like the one that everyone's gonna flock to. I know it's gonna happen. But we are mid-series.
Put a limit.
Yeah, in the ace match, and in the top left on Frost, he is KeeN.
And in the top right-hand corner of the map, we have the green Terran player. Give it up for NaTuRal.
Yeah, seen a lot more of this guy lately. Just you know, he's finally come back. We had that month where like all the up-and-comers, the actual rookies in the Korean scene, were using the OlimoLeague like we wanted them to the entire time, and it was great. It was fun. Changed the format, so it started off with a best of 3 instead, so they weren't just immediately knocked out, and then they left, and we felt really quite, you know, abandoned. And then NaTuRal came back, and NaTuRal has been looking better with the experience he's getting with the OlimoLeague, and now he's 1-1 versus KeeN, so I think even better than what was it, like last week or 2 weeks ago that we saw this guy, where he did look a little wonky. It seems to me really that his decision making is what's holding him back right now as a Terran player. But his builds are fine, his macro is good, his micro is kind of along with decision making a little bit wonky, but KeeN, we cast him yesterday. Maybe he's still a little tired. You know, he was up till like 6 a.m. yesterday. Probably took a really long nap in the middle of the day for this.
I can sympathize with that.
Yeah,
that
well,
feeling.
You didn't have to play N64 last night, Fear Dragon.
I did not play that much Nintendo 64, but Kirby Crystal Shards boss mode is really addictive.
I don't know what that is. I refuse to respond to it.
It's like it's just a mode where you fight all the bosses back to back, and you only have like 1 health bar, and there's no point where you ever get more health. So
I see.
it's like beating every boss with the same amount of health. But ooh,
yeah,
NaTuRal
tricky.
gets the Reaper health advantage. Is going to be able to take out this SCV or at least delay the command center.
Yeah, that would have been really nice, but the Reaper was, you know, almost dead for NaTuRal, so that wasn't quite gonna happen. I mean, like, if he had committed, maybe-ish, but always a little difficult to choose to do that. Now, KeeN doesn't know where his opponent is, oddly enough. He did a very late SCV scout despite going for a Reaper opener, a double Reaper opener, in fact. But I think he's kind of maybe gonna guess that it's horizontal. Just by the way the Reapers have come in, how the timing on it too.
Oh, one of the Reapers goes down really quickly. NaTuRal not even taking much damage on his own Reaper. And he's going to be able to deny mining for the NaTuRal for a little bit. KeeN locked up and holed up inside of his own main base. He's getting up his starport and everything. It's not going to be the biggest deal in the world, but it's one of those annoyances where NaTuRal did get a later command center and got up a much faster starport to get this dropout. So he does want to do some sort of economic damage, and already doing like small little bits, killing off a worker here, delaying mining for the NaTuRal there. It really does sort of add up and make this a little bit more equal for him.
Yeah, for sure. Oddly enough, the SCV gets a great scout, despite being super freaking late. Even seeing the command center timing would have told him the starport's ready, but he also just happened to see that's a starport and it's going to be that medevac, which would have been a good guess, but hey, you always want to be sure they're not surprising with the Banshee. Cyclone's on the way for KeeN, who, I mean, obviously is expecting aggression as he was holed up in his main base for so long. And the Cyclone is that great catch-all. Combined with a Viking, you should really never be taking any damage if you have units in the correct position. And I kind of like this, too. Leaving the Marines, leaving the Viking at home. He might be able to circumvent the drop and, yeah, get a couple SCVs for his troubles.
This could definitely work out quite well for him. Hellions gonna be able to run in over here. Marines not gonna be able to do a whole lot. This SCV, okay, well, Reaper's also doing a lot of damage. There's just weird bits of small engagements happening on every single corner of the map. I thought we were watching StarCraft 2, not Brood War. But the natural expansion of NaTuRal gets cleaned up, as is the Reaper, but NaTuRal has a lot of idle SCVs right now. Finally setting them back at the same time. Cyclone locking onto the Reapers. The Hellions killing off a lot of these SCVs, though. It is just a bloodbath on both sides.
Yeah. It's quite unfortunate. The Cyclone was so close to killing the tank so much earlier, but the point is it happened. The medevac had to leave. Luckily that didn't die, and everything is cleaned up and still in favor of NaTuRal, by the way. I think those Hellions looked scarier than they really were. There's only two of them, and they never get those like perfect shots when you want them to. And of course the Reaper can only do so much. So he has the 4 SCV lead. He has an army supply lead. In fact, he's gonna have a 3rd base lead too, and it's gonna be on location. That's damn bold for these spawn locations too. Oof.
Right? This is the location where you just say, like, oh, I siege up a siege tank on the high ground, right on my pathway to your 3rd. And suddenly there's not a lot you can do because you have to move up this awkward ramp. It becomes really difficult. NaTuRal's continuing the aggression with his own Cyclone and the Banshee. Banshee is able to get away with Cloak, but the Raven is out, so it should be detected. Cyclone for KeeN now coming on in, trying to get a lock on, but NaTuRal's doing a really nice job. He's saying, well, you know what? I know that you have a Cyclone, I know you have a Raven and a Viking, but as long as I don't let you detect my Banshee, because I don't let you get close enough, it doesn't really matter if you have a Raven. You're not going to kill my Banshee.
Yeah. And of course, most importantly, he doesn't have to commit to an attack. That was just some really good pressure, and KeeN has to be kind of on his toes about it. He's messing up macro as he tries to make sure he doesn't die to it, so he's like a little supply blocked. And really, behind all of it, NaTuRal's getting a much faster 3rd base. His production is a little bit later, so his like a stim is going to be later. But ideally, that's where good tank drops, good tank maneuvering, good tank positioning come in, and he doesn't just die to KeeN's faster production.
Oh, NaTuRal going after the Cyclone. He gets it, and even though he ends up losing the Banshee in exchange for it, kills off 2-3 SCVs, and the Cyclone gets a bit more scouting information. And I guess one of the most important things that with the Banshee moving in earlier, he definitely knows that he got an earlier 3rd than his opponent. He knows that KeeN did not get the 3rd until more recently, at least.
Yeah. KeeN's scan. What is the 2nd scan? Oh, I think it was return scan. Yeah. Okay, well, KeeN's scan, unfortunately, while it doesn't see the 3rd CC, it does see the timing of the production, so it should tell him there's one somewhere. He might not expect it here, just because I don't think this is where you'd usually want to put your 3rd. I mean, besides in general, because there's this ledge here, even like cross spawns is a little bit dangerous. Definitely horizontal spawns, you would think you'd put it down here, a bit wide open, not with a ledge that your opponent could abuse.
Is it weird that there's just a tech lab for KeeN that he's not using? Right? And he's even building barracks, but they're away from the tech lab.
Well, he only wants one, because his stim was started so early. So sometimes you see them double tech lab it, but sometimes it's also really awkward, because, yeah, they want the reactors on the barracks, not 2 tech labs. So that's going to be used for the second factory once the game like goes to like 10, 12 minutes.
That's unfortunate.
It's a little awkward looking. There's some Viking control for KeeN makes that ledge abuse that I was talking about even worse for NaTuRal, and he realizes that a little bit too late.
Oh.
This is just a drop, not tanks, but it's a drop that he needs to get in position for.
Yeah, and NaTuRal should be there in time to deal with this. Already gonna have the siege tanks over there. Needs to drop them and fire off a couple shots on those Marines, obliterates them. And he's prepared in his main base as well. Has a bunch of Marines stimming forward, trying to snap off that medevac.
Yeah. KeeN, you know, he has a bit faster upgrades, and he had that faster stim and combat shields, but I feel like he can't really do anything with it. His army's just not big enough. He did go for a third CC. He wasn't like all-inning on 2 bases, which might have given him just that little boost in production to have a better army supply, but now he just has a much slower third CC. This entire game has really been NaTuRal's for the taken as he's up 40 supply. And
oh, wow.
KeeN has to basically depend on maybe an upgrade timing. They still have 2-1 over 1-1. But also, more importantly, like a really good tank fight. I don't know if NaTuRal's going to let that happen. NaTuRal's going to wait for combat shields ideally before he pushes in like this.
Yeah, I would hope so. But I feel like once combat shields is done, also going to be finishing up, or I guess he might be able to hit right before the +2 weapons finishes up over here for KeeN. So that could be a really, really nice time where he can get a lot of damage done, especially depending on the positioning, where you can see KeeN is sort of splitting up his army. He's trying to go for some harassment, but he's going to end up losing some of his Marines, although this might end up pulling back NaTuRal really, really far to defend his third.
He has enough to defend his third. So he doesn't really have to chase this, but he really wants to make sure it doesn't load up and leave, I suppose. Like so.
Yeah, I don't know if he has the units in position, though, to make sure they don't just load up and leave.
He still had that tank in the main, which he didn't really need, so he was fine.
He takes in the main.
Yeah, that was unnecessary, but that pulled him back, which KeeN did need. Oh, the tank fire!
Oh!
No. Okay, did so much.
Oh. Losing like 7-8 Marines, also stimming up his entire army. Not that he doesn't have the medevac energy to heal up with, but still a bit of an annoyance. And as you were saying, it's like that delay where before he was up 40 supply, yeah, he's still behind, it looks like by about 40-50 supply, but he's definitely bought himself a bit more time, and TvT is one of those matchups where good positioning with a large enough army, with enough siege tanks, you can take engagements that you shouldn't have.
Yeah. It also bought him time that if an engagement did go down, maybe he would have those better upgrades like I was talking about, but he doesn't really have any Marines to use those upgrades. Oh, they're there. Where are they? And regardless, the 2-2 of NaTuRal's about to finish up, so he's going to have the upgrade lead now. I mean, being as bold as possible with tank drops is something that can get you a lot of freebies. You know, it can get you 5 Marines at a time or even 10, but, you know, this might be a little too fancy because he's not paying attention to the south anymore. He figures Sensor will cover it well enough. But that's an army that's, you know, pretty out of position, and while tanks are here, they're actually very susceptible to being dropped on or concaved on. He's gonna go for it.
A couple of Marines do show up, and they are gonna be able to buffer a little bit. Is it gonna be long enough for the rest of the army for KeeN to get over here? Definitely not in time to save the majority of the siege tanks, but it seems like it's gonna be enough to clean up. The problem is going to be the fact that NaTuRal loads up a few of his Marines, go to the NaTuRal, but he also has the rest of his army at the north side, which didn't move in. I am really surprised by that.
Yeah, they took a little bit longer than they should have. Oh, Vikings did a tank. Those Vikings should have been the one that was forfeit. They make the second tank. Oh my god.
Oh.
That was not the greatest from NaTuRal. I definitely liked the plan, but you're right, he didn't really execute it.
KeeN's definitely evening up this game, or he's getting closer and closer to it. He's not quite there just yet, but I would say he's one good engagement away from turning this game on its head.
Yeah? Yeah, he does need one good engagement, though. And 20 army supply, certainly that's a good tank drop, but his tanks aren't in medevacs, they're not even sieged up in general, and they meet the army, unfortunately. But NaTuRal's in stim, he was focused on boosting into the main base with whatever he has, and that's just entirely undefended. I don't think KeeN can respond to this now. Again, without tank drops of his own, there he goes, finally picks a couple of up. It's going to be very difficult.
Losing some of his reactors. Oh no, he's going to end up losing his +2 armor, which he was already behind on. He should eventually be able to clean this up, but NaTuRal's already done the damage that he needs to. He's even going to be loading up, moving along this top left-hand side, trying to draw the army as far back into the main base as possible, while he tries to push in at that third.
Yeah. Not exactly rushing in, and he does lose the main drop, and oh no, he's losing.
Ooh.
He shouldn't lose all the medevacs. They should be able to boost out at least like 2 of them, unless they just continue to get. You know, there we go.
A handful of Marines should not have been able to do that much damage to the medevacs, but
yeah.
Well, NaTuRal still has now a 50-60 supply lead, and that's honestly what I guess matters at this point.
Yeah, plus he's gonna have 3-3 over 3-1.
Oh.
Oh god. Oh, there comes the rest of his army. He's looking for just a concave and stim and win. I'm not sure he's quite there yet, but he takes out 2 tanks immediately before KeeN can respond, and that's already pretty damn good.
Yeah, although he's really losing a lot of siege tanks of his own in response. 4th expansion is down for KeeN. It looks like it was just the main base that floated over to that 4th location. But it is that aggressive 4th location, and the same way that we ended up seeing NaTuRal maybe suffering a couple of losses, or at least having a little bit of annoyance trying to defend that, I feel like KeeN is going to have even more, considering he's been the one that's constantly under pressure.
What was in that? Was it the Cyclone?
It was a Marine, right? It was just Marines.
No, there's definitely something that was either Siege Tank or a Cyclone. Oh, bye-bye base.
Okay, so we have a 2-base turn.
Yeah, right? He moves forward here and has a good enough concave, but just not enough Marines to really force the issue. I mean, eventually NaTuRal is going to win because this, but...
You know, it's kind of what you were saying before. It just seems like NaTuRal's got really good macro, he's got good build orders and everything. But the one thing he seems to be lacking sometimes is that decision making.
Yeah, just being like a little too overconfident here and there, just, you know, going for things when he really should be doing A instead of B. Like, that type of stuff has lost him games in TvTs in the past, but not this one. Takes the 2-1 over KeeN.
Yeah, advances on to that semifinals and is going to end up playing off versus Gumiho, who ended up taking the 2-1 over Armani. Lots of 2-1s in the bottom of the bracket and 2-0s in the top of the bracket.
Well, that work out. Yeah, and 2-0s means that Billy versus Bjorn is happening in the top side. So that's a TVP and a TvT. Bye, Zergs. You're bad. Get out of here. Goodbye forever.
You're bad. You're not loved.
Yeah, at all. That might be what we're getting into first, but I'm sure Olivia is going to get the lobby set up and we'll get into it real quick. So 2 minutes and we'll be back with one of the semifinals. Best of 5.